Does your team need to master AngularJS? Oasis Digital offers Angular Bootcamp, a 3-day in-person workshop class for individuals or teams. Bring us to your site or send developers to ours, angularbootcamp.com. This episode is sponsored by Wijmo5, a brand new generation of JavaScript controls. A pretty amazing line of HTML5 and JavaScript products for enterprise application development in that Wijmo5 leverages ECMAScript 5 and each control ships with AngularJS directives. Check out the faster, lighter, and more mobile Wijmo 5. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of the Adventures in Angular podcast. This week on our panel we have Joe Eames.
Hey everyone.
Lucas Rubelke.
Hi guys.
I'm Charles Max Wood from devchat.tv with a quick reminder to go check out jsremoteconf.com. Early bird tickets are over, but you can still get tickets to the conference, so go check it out. We also have two special guests. We have Relly Rivlan.
Hi.
And Itay Herskovits.
Yeah, you got it. Hi, guys.
Boom. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves really quickly?
All right, my name is Itay, CTO at Backend. Almost 20 years of experience in technology, developing.
Hi, I'm Relly. I'm head of research and development at Backend. Also, many years of experience in enterprises and startups.
Awesome. So I'm just curious, what time is it over there in Israel?
It's not so late. It's just 7 p.m.
Oh, okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I don't feel bad then.
Yeah.
So you want to give a quick...
we got used to that. I mean, we work with West Coast all the time, so it's pretty late over here.
Yeah, so you just get up at like 10 in the morning and go to bed at midnight to deal with the U.S. folks?
2 a.m., yeah, stuff like that, yeah.
Nice. You want to give us a quick overview of what Backend is?
So Backend, surprisingly, is a Backend as a service, but it's developed for Angular apps, and it allows you to bring your own database, like MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server. So as we see it, it's a kind of a perfect solution for big and small companies where the data is the core of the web app. So what we do, we reverse engineering the database and map it internally into objects. And later on, we expose it to REST API for the developer. Now, on top of that, developers can add easily business rules, role-based security, send emails, call other REST API, and there's a lot of more goodies on the server side. And for Angular developers, what we do is we give a full ORM solution. So they can simply work with objects on the front end, performing, CRUD and other business rules. So basically, it's easy to build the Angular app using backend.
All right, so I think you need to be more explicit about, like you said, we take your existing database. So walk me through this. Let's say I'm a company developer. I've got a relational database, and I want to use backend. I've already got my database already set up, but I want to switch over to Angular or something, and I want to use backend. What do I do? What's the process like?
First, it's pretty simple. You registered. It immediately takes you to a screen to where you connect to your database. We usually work with, Amazon RDS or other cloud database, mostly Amazon. So, assuming that your database is open, it takes about 2-3 minutes top, and we map all your database. And immediately you can start have a REST API through the database. You can see all the tables or the entities and actually have relation. And if you build a relationship in the database, we map it also so you can have a complex object in the REST API, not just the tables. For example, if you haven't done connected, let's say you have owners and pets, you can do it using backend, and then you can get a complex REST API over your database.
Okay, so it's completely automated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so can I use backend if I'm not using cloud database? So like if I'm using MySQL or SQL Server already, can I still use backend or?
We are a cloud service, so if it's on premise, you need to open your firewall or something. So that's why we kind of aiming to cloud databases.
That's one thing that I was wondering as well. What if I want to host it in the same data center as my database so that there's low latency between the service and the database?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. So a couple of options. First of all, we have our servers, our REST API in the different regions, in Amazon. So you can have a different region, and definitely if you are in the Amazon data center, then should be no problem. But we also allow you to add to build your own MySQL or Postgres in our database. So we also give like a free MySQL database. So that's another option.
So if I've got either a cloud database or say I do happen to open up my own database, you guys are still just sitting in the middle. It's not like you're moving the data from where it currently sits. It still stays there. So if I've got data on the cloud somewhere, it still stays there, but you step in the middle and add another layer, but then give me a nice API. Is that correct? Or do you actually bring the data over?
We do not touch the data. We don't do any migration. Yeah, we are in the middle. Of course, we have to be in the middle also because we're running business rules and everything else that happen between you actually do something in Angular up to the database. For example, you send emails or you want to do like a complex validation rules, stuff like that. So yeah, we do not touch your database at all.
Gotcha. It makes a lot more sense if you're already on the cloud. If you are running local, it may not make, if you do have like a local SQL Server database, opening it up to you guys may not make as much sense because now you got a bunch of extra latency to go back out to the cloud, then back down to you, then to somebody place else, right? You're kind of adding a big extra hop.
Yeah, we agree. That's why when we started, we kind of encouraged people also locally, but you're right, latency was really bad, and that's why we're mostly focusing on companies that are already on the cloud. When we go to a big companies, then they install it locally. We have companies like HP using our technology, then they install it, of course, locally. And anyway, they don't open their data center at all. So that's another option.
Gotcha.
Do you only do that for enterprise customers, or?
Yeah, our model is mostly a cloud. So unless there's a big enterprise coming in, and then we are okay with the local installation. But for the general public, it's all cloud.
So what's your typical or even ideal customer like? Who are they? How big are they? What are they doing right now that this makes like so much sense? You're stupid if you're not doing this.
We have a variety of customers. From startup to companies like HP. It's good. We have companies that have special e-commerce when everything is developed in Angular, and basically they use our services to access the database. All kind of CRM implementations where the database is kind of the core, so it's really easy to use us. There's companies, all kind of indexing type of applications. Again, we are basically where the database is the core of the app. That it's really easy to use us. For example, gaming is not us. Whereas you need in-memory data. There's light. You can use NoSQL, stuff like that. Like gaming, it's not us.
Right. But so what's the company, the ideal customer for you, the typical customer for you, they're at what point in their development cycle? Are they just transitioning over to Angular maybe, and this is the right time to engage your services, or are they building something brand new?
Yeah, actually in the last year when so many companies, moving to Angular, so that's exactly our perfect customers. When companies now, have some kind of Windows application or all the JavaScript application and want to move on, that's exactly where this is our perfect customer. They start looking on Angular in one end. Second, they already have an application, they already have a database, they already spend a lot of time in the server side. Then with them, look, we do reverse engineer to your server side. We cut you a lot of the effort on that. Focus on the UX and Angular. We'll cover the server side. Yeah, so that's the perfect customer.
I have to wonder, though, is there some point that people get to where they actually need some custom endpoints that backend just won't handle?
Yeah, for that we, on the business side, on the server side, we allow you to call a REST API. So on any trigger, any event, you can actually go out and call other REST services. You can make additional calls. And, we are also writing for that exact question. What we do right now is working on allow you to add JavaScript code on the server side. So that hopefully will solve completely the fact that you kind of stuck and you really need more. So, but right now we have a good. I mean, you can do a lot of really great deal of requirements and tasks that you can do on backend.
So I'm just curious how you came up with this idea, why you implemented it, what needs we're seeing.
What we saw, I mean, first of all, there's in the backend as a service industry, there's good companies like Parse and Firebase out there. They all use their proprietary database or use MongoDB. Well, we are actually in the last few years working with companies that use MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, and so that's why we come up. We start doing a project working with customers. We look for solutions for backend and service with existing databases. And especially when we start looking in Angular, we thought, cool, there's a really great solution out there for front end. Backend is, there are solutions like Firebase and Parse, or back then it's mostly Parse, but it's really close. I mean, I can't use my MySQL or Oracle. So that's where we start looking for, how to solve it.
What kind of access do you provide to the back end if you're the one hosting it? I mean, I can see if you're using like Amazon RDS or if you've set up your own PostgreSQL server in Amazon's cloud or something so that, it's next door to back end, then I just have control. But if you set up the database, how much control do I get?
On the database, you get full control. So if you create a database on our side, we just it's a regular database on Amazon. You can even see that from the endpoint. It's very easy to see that it's Amazon, and you have a full access to that schema.
So you just basically give me a login to the database that's got full access, super user privileges. Nice. Yeah, this seems like something that could definitely remove a lot of the headaches without taking away some of the control. I want to get in a little bit to the ORM. This is something that I think a lot of folks are going to be curious about as far as, building this into existing Angular apps and doing stuff with new Angular apps. So how much work is it, first of all, to integrate something like your ORM into an existing Angular app?
Let me give a general overview and then can really get into much more details on the R&D side.
Yeah.
So basically we, on the ORM, we build a server side, so it's really easy to use on the client side. So all the heavy lifting, all the hard work, of course, on the server side on the API, make it fast, make it correct. That's the heavy lifting. The cool thing on the Angular side, we use mostly REST Angular, for example. And then, if you implement in REST Angular, you just reference a very small service, and that's it. You can immediately start working with object. If you have a user table, you just do var x equal REST Angular users. Boom, you get user. You want to update, you do save. You want to change the email, you just do, fix that email and change it. But also, when you do the save or the update or get, it's also running all the server-side business rules. But for the front-end developer, it's just adding a quick reference or running, small bower, and that's it. It's ready.
In addition, we have the deep level of objects. I mean, you can load shallow objects, or you can load deep objects that goes with all the relationships. And you can lazy load them or load them immediately, and it is all with the context for UI, which means you can in a single request you can get your main table and additional reference tables that allows you to interpret some rows with codes instead of like descriptive information.
So, what about I know Firebase has their three-way binding Angular directives. Do you guys have a similar thing with backend?
Not yet. I mean, type of application we focus, it's a little bit different. I mean, with Firebase, with this three-way binding, it's really cool for kind of a broadcasting application. So, but it's a little bit when you build an e-commerce or CRM. I think it's a little bit. This three-way, it's a little bit less significant. Also, we mostly focusing on web applications on Angular. So, so also it's become a little bit less the three-way. But we have our own, technology where we kind of cache the data on the server side. We recognize when it needs to be refreshed and when it needs to be served to the client faster way.
Right.
So if you don't mind me jumping in here, I think the premise of backend is really awesome. But for me, because I do not have an existing, database, obviously, I would say most people are not running, Oracle locally that, may want to check this out is, so I've created my account. I'm looking at the dashboard and it looks cool, but I'm kind of sitting here and be like, okay, well, now what? Like, I don't have a database. It seems like, in order for this to work, there is kind of a hard dependency to have an existing data source, which, I think, let's say you had a developer who was interested in checking out the technology and then going and evangelizing it to their corporation and saying, hey, like, I checked this thing out. I think you should really look at it. How would you recommend somebody to just get a taste for backend, how to get started with that if they don't have an already existing database or data structure for them to work with? Like, how do you get started? How do you spin it up?
Yeah. First of all, we're working on that. If you're looking right now on the dashboard, there should be like a tab over there to create a new database. That's where we can actually give you create your own MySQL database. I think it should be like see over there on the top, kind of a way to create your own database. But that's how we do it. I mean, that's why we let you create right now MySQL database on our servers. So you can, easily start building tables and play around with the system.
Okay.
Hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll check why not. But yeah.
No, I can. So I've got that. I think so. The next part is, well, so right in the dashboard, it was easy to create the database. The next question is like, okay, like I'm looking at the REST API playground, which seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like, how would I from here start to create my tables and build that out?
Yeah, what we encourage to do is to use any system out there, like a Workbench, PHPMyAdmin, DB Ninja, which is a cool MySQL system admin. So yeah, we're just about to add this kind of information. But we encourage people to use whatever they know work with admin, and then the only thing they need to do is click on sync. And when then back and sync back the changes they did in the database.
Got it.
So that's the idea. We do have some work to do over there in the UI to be more clear, but that's what we're working on.
Okay.
One more thing that we're actually going to release very soon is that from the REST API you can actually create the schema. So, for example, you want to create person and pets tables. Okay. You can simply create a JSON that says pets table, a name as a text. This is all in JSON, and then you post it to the ORM, and boom, it does create tables for you.
Ooh, I like that.
So that will be another way. It's already developed. We just need to test it a little bit more and then release it. So yeah. I think it's even more cool because, in the pets, let's say you have a pets type, right? Different type. Then you can set a pets type and say this is a related table. And we will create for you on the MySQL another table, pets type. And we'll create the foreign key and connect these two. So you can put in a JSON, either it's a simple columns like name or number or something, but you can also relate a table and we'll create everything for you. So maybe in one JSON it creates 4 or 5 tables. We are crazy to database, so it's all normalized, integrated, everything is connected in a foreign key. So that will be very soon through the REST API.
I want to just briefly point out, or I guess it's kind of a question, but it seems like a lot of these backend as a service, the pipe dream for a lot of these is that I can completely eliminate my hosting needs completely entirely. So I really want to get rid of, having to set up a server and host something somewhere. So I just drop my Angular files on there, I drop my CSS files on there, I drop my image files on there, and then it just kind of works and you provide the backend as well. But in this case, it looks like this just provides the API for the application, and the rest of it I have to put somewhere. Now, I'm just putting up static files. It's not a big deal. but I just want to make sure that I understand that properly, that I still have to set up hosting myself.
So a couple of things, and you're right. What we try to do is give a full overall solution. For example, for images, we already have built-in an API to Amazon S3 or Azure Tables or other places like that. So you can easily set up your Amazon S3 and specify that column is an image, and boom, we'll do for you the upload and all this heavy lifting of the upload and update the database. So that's about the documents. And we also about to add hosting. So basically you can take your, Angular code and host it on backend as well. Also leveraging Amazon technology, but, that will be also, pretty soon. It's been used by, some other customers. It's a kind of a closed beta. We'll probably finalize it soon and release it.
And then is the deployment process going to be something like Heroku, where you just do a git push, or is it going to be something?
Git push. Yeah. Exactly. No, we didn't want to build everything like Heroku. I mean, it's a huge effort, and we like GitHub, so we're leveraging the webhooks in GitHub. So
nice.
As soon as you push GitHub, our server pick it up, put it on the hosting. That's it. You're ready.
Huh. I would dare say that might be a little more convenient than git push.
So that's the plan. It's actually in work.
So what's the hardest part of building a system like this?
It is many hours of coding.
Building it.
Yes, but it's going. We went with a lot of customers that helped us in the process of understanding what is necessary and what is not necessary, and a lot of interaction with customers, with real life applications.
I think that's really interesting. It's not really the focus of this show, but the hard parts are figuring out which problems to solve, not necessarily, I'm sure there are technical challenges as well, but that you went straight for the talking to customers and figuring out what they want. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So are there any edge cases on any of these database systems that you don't handle? So I don't know, you have triggers in PostgreSQL or stored procedures in a lot of these systems or things like that, and you can set all those up on your own and the system just kind of handles them. But are there things like that you don't deal with or you don't deal well with?
Yeah. So, if the database is not normalized, basically if someone took one table and put everything in, then it will be very hard to work with the backend. We very normalized, but even semi-normalized is fine, but that's one big challenge. You mentioned store procedures, so we know how to call store procedures, but we don't really, do any reverse engineering to that. And there is a very specific database sometimes. For example, if someone has a primary key with multiple fields, this is a great challenge to deal with, stuff like that. And I think also kind of reference your previous question is the challenges. Kind of to give a good service, but also kind of convince that you're not going to stuck. I mean, you can still do whatever you want and use backend. It's a great challenge also to convince people that it actually works, and second to do it. So we try all the time to find the right ways so people eventually can do whatever they need to do and not get stuck anywhere.
Right. So as long as you're following kind of standard, simple, the kinds of things that you see in most databases for these kinds of applications, you handle those pretty cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, we're already handling hundreds of different, maybe even thousands of databases we handled in the last couple of years that we're working on the technology. So we optimize it all the time, and of course there's a new customer, then he send you a new scenario, and then we need to update the algorithms on the server side. Yeah, we all the time, upgrade the server side to handle it more and more different scenarios or different database types. Kind of crazy thing that people do in the database.
Anything else we should cover before we get to the picks?
So, just quickly on our roadmap, we kind of rebuild everything in Angular. So you can see the dashboard. Some of our technology is still in the different older UI. So we're working on move everything to to be the kind of cutting edge of the UI. So that's probably going to happen soon. And like I said, adding a JavaScript to the server side. So that's something else we're working on. And performance, talking about in-memory database or any kind of improving performance for the customers. This is kind of our short roadmap.
Cool. Sounds good. People want to know more about it. How do they find out about it?
Most of the documentation there, we have reference to GitHub. Most of the stuff is, open source on GitHub, examples, everything's there, and we're working all the time on more and more examples. And they can just contact us,
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and do some picks. Lucas, you want to start us off with picks?
Sure, I would love to. So I've been reading this book called How to Fail at Almost Everything by Scott Adams of Dilbert fame. And it is not only, it's funny because Scott Adams is actually fairly self-deprecating about his ability to give good advice. And so it's really quite humorous. But at the same time, amidst all of that subterfuge, he's really quite profound. And I really agree with a lot of his advice. And so I would recommend that everybody read it if you have a sense of humor, and it's kind of nerdy. So I definitely am a huge fan of How to Fail at Almost Everything. And actually the entire title is How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. So very cool book, and I recommend everybody check it out.
All right, Joe, what are your picks?
I'm going to pick the game Titanfall. Really like that game. I bought it when it first came out, played it quite a bit, and kind of stopped playing a little bit. And then they had a sale where they were selling accounts for like $5, and my 10-year-old son, I bought him an account. And since then, he and I have been playing a lot together. And I've just found a renewed joy for it. Just a fun shooter. So that's going to be my pick, is Titanfall.
Very nice. I'm going to pick a system I've been looking at lately. It's called Drip. It's an email system. You can find it at getdrip.com. I've been using Entreport for a while, but Drip seems to be just more focused on getting your campaigns together and well organized so that you can get people the right information and hopefully get them to purchase whatever it is that you put out there to help them. So anyway, that's my pick. Itay, what are your picks?
Yeah, just recently this guy, they were also in Kickstarter, but I saw them. It's called a Fogu language. For all the guys that are actually traveling, it's a language that become like a closet. So when you travel, it's the size of a suitcase, but when you get to the hotel and everything, it's become like a closet. It's blew up and raised. It's really cool.
Huh.
I mean, yeah. Also, these guys look for 50,000. They raised 500 within no time. It's really nice.
Awesome. Relly, what are your picks?
I recently saw Dean Sofer's lectures on ORM and was inspired by it very much. So I'd like to point that out and to recommend it on it. And other gadgets that I saw is the AiA umbrella. If you heard about it, it's like an umbrella without that defends you from the rain by air. So winds and stuff like that, and bad weathers won't matter. You are protected. It's very cool, I think.
That sounds really awesome. All right. Well, I don't think we have anything else, so we'll wrap up the show. Joe, is there any news about NGConf that we need to talk about before we end the show?
There is news about NGConf. We are announcing our ski day. We've already officially announced it before. But we want to mention and remind everybody who happens to be attending that we are having a ski day. It'll be Saturday, the day after the conference. The ticket prices will be $100, and that will get you lift tickets to the Snowbird Ski Resort, which is a super awesome ski resort. They even have a tram that goes all the way up to the top of this huge mountain. An all-day ski pass to that. Transportation up to the slopes, plus rental of either skis or a snowboard. And it'll be an awesome opportunity for those who are attending NGConf to go out and hit the slopes with other attendees.
So it includes the pass and the ski rentals?
Pass, ski rentals, and transportation are all included in that.
That is a killer deal. Wow.
Yeah. So we would love to see tons of people. We'd love to sell out on those tickets. We do have a limited number, but it's a pretty large number. We didn't sell out last year, and we've allocated even more tickets because we've been promoting it more, hoping that more people will go. So we really hope that people will want to go and go hit the slopes and enjoy some of the beautiful Utah snow.
Yeah, I don't ski well, and I'm tempted. You can come hang out with me on the bunny slope. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up the show then. We'll catch y'all next week. This episode is sponsored by Mad Glory. You've been building software for a long time, and sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. Work piles up, hiring sucks, and it's hard to get projects out the door. Check out Mad Glory. They're a small shop with experience shipping big products. They're smart, dedicated, will augment your team, and work as hard as you do. Find them online at madglory.com or on Twitter at madglory. Hosting and bandwidth provided by the Blue Box Group. Check them out at bluebox.net. Bandwidth for this segment is provided by CacheFly, the world's fastest CDN. Deliver your content fast with CacheFly. Visit CacheFly.com to learn more. Do you want to have conversations with the Adventures in Angular crew and their guests? Do you want to support the show? Now you can. Go to adventuresinangular.com/forum and sign up today.